And welcome to Illfoominati. We are in episode 2. It's been a ride. It's been fun. We're all still learning what it means to podcast and what podcasting is, but I'm excited to explore it with Ronnie Chi.
What up, y'all?
And Steven Sampson. Yes.
Yo.
They're both humans. They're cool people. They're folks that represent Denver, and that's why we are here as part of the WeAreDenver collective.
WeAreDenver.
How you guys doing today?
Peace.
I'm
Chilling,
doing
man.
excellent, man.
Yeah?
Yeah. I actually, I've mentioned before I do Kundalini before I come here.
Yeah. That always blows my mind when you tell me that for some reason.
And
Judgment.
today, the mudra thing that kind of the main thing we did, I wish I could remember exactly what it was, but she was like, okay, so this is kind of a powerful thing, and it attaches to your words. So when you leave here today, you want to put extra focus on the things that you say and the mood around the things that you're saying, because it will this practice will amplify that. And I was like, awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to a podcast.
Perfect.
Let's fucking jack up our words.
If you don't know, a mudra is like a hand shape you make
Right.
during yoga. How about you, Ronnie? How's your day going?
Man, awesome.
Yeah?
I started my morning with a awesome Qigong session. So about hour and a half morning Qigong session.
Nice.
Yeah.
And do you do yoga too?
Stretching, Qigong, yoga.
It's all the same in a way.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah? Okay. So what you do Qigong, what else do you do?
My morning practice usually consists of a Qigong routine, but I also practice Tai Chi as well. But, like when I'm feeling sore and tight, I just want to do my Qigong routine and loosen up the tendons and get rid of the stress.
That sounds nice. Yeah, I think most people, I don't know about most. I'm actually interested to hear what you guys think about this, but a lot of people have routines like that for relaxing and stretching and moving, and they've called all different kinds of things. But a lot of people don't, too, which is something that kind of blows my mind. As somebody who, does a little bit of the Tai Chi, does a little bit of the yoga, I actually do a lot of the yoga, but in various other physical forms, it's just, it almost doesn't matter to me at this point. It's just a way to express that physical stuckness and get it moving a little again, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm gonna part of my podcast, I'm gonna bring back a new movement.
A new movement.
A new movement
Don't think those
thing
exist.
that I have recently come across.
Okay.
It came up at Contact in the Desert, which is going to be my stories from last week for our podcast.
I'm
but
excited.
it includes a guy and a movement, an enlightening movement technique, an ancient Qigong from Egypt, which he has unearthed. So
Fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad that happened, and you're here because you'll probably think that's really cool stuff too. So
Most definitely.
Well, what did you come back from? What was it called again?
Contact in the Desert.
Contact in the Desert. It was, from my understanding, it was like a UFO alien thing. I find this stuff really interesting. It's I don't know where I sit with aliens still. Like I don't know if you know this, but I don't know where I am with aliens, and that's why there's part of an interesting thing for me to uncover.
Where you held up at?
Well, I've never had, and I can only live based on the experiences I've had, and I've not had any direct experience with what you would call aliens.
Have you?
Well, yeah, part of this weekend included seeing. I think I saw something unexplainable in the sky a couple years back, but I saw 3 UFOs with 100 people, and the people who had night vision goggles on, they saw 15 to 20 unexplainable objects swirling and jumping.
And what about you, Ronnie? Have you had an otherworldly experience?
I'm just a full-out believer because I don't want to cancel out any possibilities.
Yeah.
Especially when there's evidence, right?
Yeah.
There's enough evidence. Some of these things have to have some type of substance.
Yeah. It's interesting stuff too, because you can do alien stuff and be really into all the aliens, and then go back and live a normal life. It doesn't have to impact the rest of regular existence.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I would be most encouraged by someone who is approaching the situation kind of like watching a movie, oh, that's not real. I don't like that movie. I'm like, what? Have fun, dude. It's just a movie. Whatever. Life is just a movie. It doesn't. It doesn't have to be real for you to enjoy it. So
Exactly. And
that's the first step, I think, to like
Yeah.
introducing yourself to any of that information. But
Yeah, totally.
but we shouldn't get too deep into that because that's what I'm.
You
gonna
want to
do.
you want to cover that in the next hour. That's okay. That is totally okay.
And I assume you have an agenda, maybe.
Do I have an agenda?
Do you?
Hold on, I have to really think about this now.
I mean, we could do aliens the whole
No,
time, but
no, I
this
don't have
one's
an
your
agenda.
podcast, so we would have to
Uh-huh.
explore your aspects,
Mhm,
you know, and
mhm.
your questions.
Yeah, that's fair.
Alien Week.
No, yeah.
When aliens
I'm not.
attack.
Yeah, I'm not that interested in talking about anything in particular. I am interested in talking about everything, because I think, just like this is my perspective on aliens, I think everything is a story, and everything is metaphor.
I can dig it.
So that's what I'm interested in. I want to get to know people, and that's why I ask how your days are, and what you're into, and where you just came back from, and what you do in your morning routine, because those are all stories as to how we put our lives together. So that's what I'm interested in, the whole human experience. And some of that experience is people who like talk to aliens and shit. That is their experience. It doesn't matter if it's real to me. Like, it being their experience is most of everything. So, we're not going to talk about anything in particular. I just want to get to know, like, a variety of your perspectives on different things. So, aliens is a fun one, yeah. But there's all kinds of stuff that people feel weird about talking about. And part of what we want WeAreDenver to be is to talk about the real cultures that aren't being talked about. And some of that is like alien culture. Some of that is like conspiracy theory culture. How do you guys feel about that? Because I feel like aliens and conspiracy theory are in similar online nests, yeah? Like things you wouldn't talk about at a board meeting,
Yeah,
I assume.
I'm down with everything. I don't like drawing lines in my, search for information. So
Okay.
I tend to be a kind of a believer, which is, could easily be explained as a product of the fact that I don't limit my experience, of what I'm bringing in, and so therefore I would probably be widely open to believing stuff that a lot of people wouldn't, like I've seen, people are like, oh, that's not real, and I'm like, you want to know about stuff that's not real? I'll tell you about stuff that's not real, and it'll change your perspective of what is real just by expanding your idea of what's not real,
What's not real, Sampson?
Well, despite some like very interesting things which I haven't really looked at, like the flat Earth thing does not seem real to me. And you know what? Honestly, there's some interesting.
So you're not just letting all the information from the internet right in.
I'll explore it. And I had an interesting conversation with a woman at Contact in the Desert, and she was like, and I was like, yeah, but that raises this question and that question. She's like, actually, there's some weird stuff there too. And so I've looked a little bit, and I've seen some stuff. There's, if nothing else, like. People talk about the flat Earth, they maybe this flat disk, and the big problem for that is it tunes out the rest of the cosmos as to like what shaped the rest of the cosmos, because we look into the sky and we see round objects everywhere.
There's all different reasons.
Yeah, so then at the flat Earth is just bringing in this potential for basically a big LCD screen in the sky, like we're all Truman.
I feel like it's possible. I don't know much about reality in the universe, but I think it might be possible that if you believe really strongly in the flat Earth theory, that you live in a world where the Earth is flat.
That's an interesting thought too.
And that if you don't, then you don't.
You get what you want.
Yeah, that might be the power of
or you get what you need,
maybe.
to quote the Stones.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, so the thing with the flat Earth, like this is an interesting kind of conspiracy angle for me, but the real seller for me as to why I don't think the Earth is flat is the way the internet behaves to me with regard to flat Earth. So if I go looking for some crazy fucking information,
yeah,
like it'll pop up in my feeds and stuff. Like I'll see a little bit more of it. It's like, oh, you recently searched for this.
Yeah,
you might be interested in this, and there's like this kind of like, oh, hey, maybe you want to watch this. But if I search a flat Earth video, all of my recommended videos are replaced with flat Earth videos. Like YouTube pushes that on you. Like no other subject matter have I ever come across where like
even with all the weird conspiracy stuff you've looked for.
Yeah. Like if I go looking for the JFK assassination, my feed doesn't fill up with JFK assassination the second I watch a JFK video. But if I watch a flat Earth video, my feed fills up with flat Earth stuff.
You think it's just that popular, or what is the?
It's a psyop. They're muddying the waters. Because
it's a psyop.
Totally. That's the only thing. That's the only way I can explain it. Because they need ridiculous shit out on the internet to point to say that the internet is just a bunch of ridiculous shit and don't listen to them. Like, if you want information, you need to come to CNN, NBC, ABC, because that's the real info. Yeah. Everything on the internet's fake, and if you don't think everything on the internet's fake, well, guess what? There's a bunch of people out there who think the Earth is flat.
So you're saying there's a big advantage to propagating fake information on purpose as to discredit the internet.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I've a couple of like the online cultures I'm part of, people will just make flat Earth posts for fun because they're they're like, oh, I'm gonna mess with people, I'm gonna troll, and then they'll be like, so I just got a bunch of emails asking me to make more flat Earth videos, and they're offering me like real money to do it.
Oh, so
like
it is,
instantly.
yeah.
Like this, there's a couple places where if you're a content creator there, people will come out of the woodworks to have you make more.
Well,
and you admitting that you're doing it because it's fake.
Let me reel it all the way back in, because I will say that there's some Noam Chomsky stuff you can read. If that sounds super crazy to you, then take a step back and consider that Noam Chomsky mentioned that he wouldn't be surprised, based on the history of the CIA and the FBI, if, and this is a curious one to think about, if all the 9/11 conspiracy stuff was propagated by the CIA.
Oh, yeah.
Because it does so much in terms of sort of getting us interested in these viral stories, again, back to the metaphors, back to the characters that have to play the parts in these particular roles. It's just an easy way to control humans. It used to be done with myth. It used to be done, we said God did this, we cut the wheat this way, you give this much of it to the king, God said do that. But now that we've got different gods, the gods of law, and the gods of order, and the gods of money. Yeah, but the same thing, I think. The same stories at work. So that's very interesting. I'm going to shift it back to our good guest, Sir Ronnie. Are you willing to tell us what is a conspiracy theory that you're willing to entertain?
We were just talking about all of them.
All of them.
I've talked about the flat Earth. I've talked about the JFK assassination.
Yeah.
All of these things grab my interest, and I won't really discount any of the information coming from either side. But one of the things that I know for me is if there's some evidence that you can go off, that you can literally research and figure things out for yourself, I would kind of like base my coin on that side instead of what somebody else have told me. Go do your own research.
So you're saying it's all up to the individual. It's not about what ideology or conspiracy or theory at all is right, but what feels right, what is resonant with the person.
Whatever feels right with you. Aliens, religion, Jesus, Allah, whatever you feel that attracts your interest.
Yeah.
Nobody has you a right to tell you otherwise.
Yeah. I would say that's, since you're the author of your own human story, that's part of your job, is to do what's interesting to you. So I want to shift the focus down to Ronnie Chi and Ronnie's story, and which I'm sure is all different kinds of interesting. So what are some stories that build Ronnie? I know you're a martial artist. I know you're someone who works in the education system. I've seen you do stuff with Peace Jam. What do you do? What's your life, man?
Right now, my life is studying Tai Chi and teaching. My life wasn't always like that, but right now I'm kind of like etching a real good groove for safety, peace, harmony, and love. But
that's good.
That's always going to be good for me to stay out of trouble and stay centered.
Yeah.
Because once upon a time, I was the opposite of that. Real rowdy, running the streets, just trying to prove things to other people instead of proving them to myself. And now, here we are now.
What changed that?
Prison.
Okay.
Prison,
that'll probably do
it. Most definitely. Like, I had the type of attitude that I didn't get it the first time. So I went back and I went back and I went back, and eventually it started to sink in that I'm the one doing this. I'm the one going back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Do you mind? Can we explain?
No, go ahead. Man, this is just the truth of it all.
Yeah, because I'm really interested in like where where people's heads are at that gets them in that situation, but I also really interested in the justice system because it's not interested in where people's heads are at. It's not interested in really like correcting. Like you corrected you. The correction system didn't correct you. I'm sure you'd agree with that.
It came from a sincere drive of knowing that I fucked up my life enough, right? So I was in places I used to kick my cellie. Get out. I need some cell time, These places, you about to jack off. That's what most people think.
Wow.
But I was in there doing my yoga and writing my book, doing my meditations, doing my workout. I mean, I stayed on that, and when I got out, I continued and produced this effort, which you see, which is the Apprentice of Peace.
Nice. Would you say that your journey was a spiritual one?
Spiritual, physical, mental. All the things I had to overcome, just my own attitudes, my own reactions and responses to stuff. I'm still kind of polishing myself off because I felt like I was deep in the crap. I went to prison in 1998. You know what I mean?
How old are you?
I'm 40 now.
Oh, okay. So you're just a little bit older than I am.
Yeah, when I went, I was 20.
I feel young as fuck.
So,
what were you into? Were you just chasing paper?
Just chasing paper.
Just chasing paper.
But I was also into all other type of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, ultimately, it's all the same thing, which is a kind of social disorder. You do anything that's against, with the set-up social order, you get punished.
Right.
And not particularly to help. But would you say
choice?
That,
this is all choice, though.
Yeah.
When I break it down, there's people who lived in the same neighborhood, knew the same people, and they didn't end up doing the same things, right?
Yeah.
So it come down to choice.
Yeah.
Like some of these people, they got houses, cars, all of the above, families. And then there's the choice where now we're just starting our life at 35, 37, getting out the joint, can't get a job, all of these things that come with living that life.
Yeah.
So when you get to the reality of it, it was just choice. You chose a different experience than the rest of everybody else.
So what was interesting enough about Tai Chi or interesting enough about yoga or other physical forms to make that choice?
Discipline.
Discipline.
The discipline that I lacked to stay out of trouble.
He lacked the discipline.
Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, we that was our choice. We got picked on as when we were younger because I was little.
Yeah.
So one of the ways I could display aggression was through fighting. You know what I mean? So to overcome that has been a big journey because I used to be an angry person. I'm not so angry no more.
That's good. That's really good. Would you suggest martial arts or other physical forms for folks who have anger issues or feel like they want to gain some discipline in that area?
It's a realization that you got to have for yourself.
It's not about the art.
You know what I mean? Once you have a realization that peace is needed, you will do the things that you set for yourself to help you gain that peace, whether it's martial arts, skateboarding, drawing.
Yeah.
All of us, we all have our individual skills that scream out to us. Sometimes we ignore them. Sometimes we use it the wrong way. But when we align ourselves, focus, and center, we'll be able to do what we're good at, what we like, and make those realizations to become better, stay out of trouble, commit your effort to anything that you want to do for yourself.
Yeah. I hear a lot of people talk about peace. It's something that politicians talk about a lot. It's something that so many products in America claim to prescribe, right? Buy this product, it'll give you peace of some kind or some kind of comfort. But I think people...
with these side effects, your liver may fail.
Yeah. But hold on a second. It has this cost. Well, they do no matter what. But I would say that maybe when people say peace, they don't know what they're actually talking about. Like I would say genuinely that what most people have in their mind's eye as a concept of peace is not the real deal.
Right.
Would you agree?
It's just almost a true statement.
I mean, because when I say peace, what do you think what does that mean to you guys? What does peace mean to you?
Inside.
Lack of turmoil.
Like lack of suffering.
Well, just yeah. I mean, like you can go pretty wide with it. So to me, I envision turbulence. You know, like peace to me is like a wide running stream with no blockades or obstructions, and lack of peace is, you know, all of the eddy currents and something that's stopping the flow and anything that's reverting the flow in on itself. Things like
cesspools.
That. You going like that's big, general.
Yeah,
those are can be metaphorically applied.
Yeah, well, because like
a lot of things.
You know it's hard to when you just look at the word and you say, you know, what is peace and what is conflict, right? You could be like, oh well, conflict is when I'm angry and I'm lashing out, you know, and like that's a limited description. So in my head, I was like, you know, what is like how big can you go with the concept
of peace?
Yeah,
yeah. I think that there are various concepts for peace, and then here's a little bit of philosophy for you. The various concepts for peace, and then there's the thing that peace is a concept for. There's the thing that peace is a metaphor for. The word peace, the concept peace, the feeling peace, is a expression of a greater state of being, which has to exist first. And I think that part is glossed over a little bit, and it's hard to really decipher even in words what I mean, which is that you can't say peace. Peace does not have a name. The word peace, the word stillness, the word Tao, these are incomplete metaphors that could never scrape the surface of the thing that we're talking about. Because it lies behind. I don't know. I meet people who've tapped into this in various forms. When you do Kundalini yoga, at the very end of it, right? Like when you're in Shavasana, is it called? Yeah, the corpse pose. Oh, that's a good feeling, yeah. I mean, there's this feeling of absolute connectedness, and there are no thoughts. It's just this quiet, beautiful, serene landscape. But you get up and you move on with your life, and that doesn't remain that way forever. I think that you actually always exist there. We just forget often.
And that's your energetic connection through the mind, the body, and the breath. Learning how to bring all of those things into unison so you can live from that space all the time without the stress, the tension, and the turmoil. And that's why I was like, my reflection of peace is always going to be inward. You know what I mean? Because you can have a storm, a million things going on around you, but if you can focus that peace inward, you'll be able to maintain all of these distractions without being distracted yourself.
Yeah, and you see a lot of insights that help you to let go of things and move through things faster. Like the other day I was having a conversation with a friend, and they kept on asking, like, how do I get rid of this feeling, and like, how do I, and my only advice was, like, don't. It's already leaving you. It's already on its way out. You're preventing it by trying to get it out of you. That's a sure way to keep it in. But like it's almost as if you could use the metaphor that you're standing in a river, and it's all coming, and you can either go with the current or you can fight it. But going with the current's much easier. Yeah. Much less resistance.
I like. There's kind of a dual metaphor there that I like. Of like you're standing in a river, and you know, life, the river is flowing past you, and you can take very selected portions of life and you can drink it and it can be a part of you. Yeah. But even that doesn't stay with you because eventually it's going to exit back into the river.
Everything does.
Yeah, totally. But you can also be riding the river as a metaphor. And as you're traveling down the river, you can get caught up in eddy pools and currents and distractions. And your goal is to move down the river, but the struggle of life is to observe that you've been stuck in an eddy current, and then to see, like, because you might just be like, oh, I'm flowing down the river, and then you have an awakening, and you're like, I'm not flowing down the river. I'm stuck in an eddy current. I've been in this same place for a long time, and I just couldn't see it. I thought I was in the river. Yeah. And then once you have the realization that you're not back into the flow, you can
key
push
word,
yourself out.
the realization. Without
Yeah.
that, it doesn't happen, right?
Yeah, totally. That's a really interesting revelation, I think, for everyone. Like, and I love talking about that with people because not only does it impact you, where you're like, I didn't realize what was going on, but then you look at everyone around you and you say, they might not know what's going on. You know, they think they know what's going on, but they might not because like everyone you know has had that realization.
Yeah.
And that's why relationships, friendships change within seasons. Because some people make realizations that it doesn't match up with the way the rest of the other people look at them. You know what I mean? Or the way they look at other people.
Yeah, labels in relationships of any kind will do that. Any expectations are pretty deadly to long-lasting or sustaining relationships of any kind, I think. But that's just my opinion, because I also think words are really powerful things, and saying, like, this is my girlfriend, or something like that. Yeah, I think that's dangerous.
Yeah. The realization of the power of words was a really interesting point of my life. And it's funny, it came coincided with an anime that included, it was like an anime that revolved around a little bit of magic, but there was one episode about a girl who had like a curse on her mouth, essentially, and her words carried more power than usual. And the main character was just being trained into the magical arts, so he could see her words like going out into
Doing
the world
magic stuff.
and then interacting and dragging back the things that she was saying. And it was like,
that's a cool metaphor.
yeah, because I was like watching this stuff and just kind of like watching the people around me and kind of learning this, and then this cartoon came at me at the same time, and I like watched somebody draw this concept of like people putting out and then getting it back immediately, and I was like, that's a really cool thing, and I really started paying attention, and I was like, that's fucking real.
Anime is tight. I think that cartoons and anime, let's lighten it up real quick and talk about some of that. So we've gone
Rick
on
and Morty?
Yes.
Dude, we're going to the Rick and Morty mobile.
Are you coming?
June 5th, right?
I'm going to
There's
that
going to be
one.
like,
Where is it
it's
gonna
be
be?
ridiculous. I don't remember.
All right, this is We Are Denver. If you're watching,
We Are
and you're
Denver.
like,
What's
Hashtag
what's some
We
stuff
Are Denver.
that's happening, something you want to know that's happening, the Rickmobile is coming to Denver on June 5th. It's going to be outside the Hyperspace Arcade. There's going to be 200 games for free. It costs money to get into the mobile or something. I'm going.
Hey,
Yeah,
I just like to say I fucks with Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty is great. I think this generation, interestingly, like the, 16 to 40-year-old generation, 45 maybe, are people that were exposed to anime young-ish and are into it, and it's totally changed the culture. Anime and, cartoons and other, Adult Swim itself. Like, how about Adult
most
Swim?
definitely.
Toonami first, and then Adult Swim.
Yeah.
kind of
Toonami
did-
first.
Did you watch Toonami
Yeah.
when Tom was a character and who, anybody remember this?
The robot guy?
Yeah, the robot guy,
his
Tom.
name was Tom?
Yeah, his name was Tom,
Oh,
and
he was
he
Joe.
dies.
Really?
Yeah, and then he gets reborn as Tom too, and he's like a more upgraded. one.
He's
It
more
was-
slimmer.
I remember watching it as a kid, thinking because it was so tight, right?
As
he
a
had,
kid. I'm
he
like,
had-
what?
Yeah, and I don't have super good memories of my childhood, but this is one I remember decently well. Tom was like the robot who hosted the show, Toonami, right? So he'd would change the channel. He'd be like, "Now there's this next tight anime. You're about to watch it," and he would tune you in. Well, he lived in a ship and he floated around and stuff, and he becomes under attack by this red ooze thing, and it kills him. But he does something smart and comes out in Tom 2, the robot, the new updated Toonami, and then it was Toonami 2.0 or something. So
That's
it was
funny.
brilliant marketing, and it came out of nowhere. They didn't mention it; it just happened live in their regular programming. So it was like, oh my God, what's this thing that's happening on TV right now?
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
not really breaking the fourth wall, but breaking some rules. you
Yeah,
know,
it is.
carving new ground.
Yeah.
I love Toonami, and I caught some stuff here and there, but I didn't watch a lot because that's about the same time that I really got wired into the internet hardcore. I mean, I've been on the internet since the internet started, essentially, but as far as cartoons and things go, I figured out how to download stuff, and I found out about fan subbing. So there's just massive crews of people who will record live Japanese TV and then translate it and distribute it all over the world. So I was downloading stuff and listening to Japanese audio, which I much prefer. So watching Toonami was always a little frustrating for me.
Yeah, watching Japanese audio. How about you, Ronnie? Are you into anime?
Of course.
I feel like you have to be.
Of course.
Awesome. Give me, what are your top... We're about to nerd out for
hold
the
on.
next 20 minutes.
It's not going to be real anime like a real nerd, but I just know that I got some favorites.
What are some favorites? Yeah, tell us.
Cartoons, it's all the same.
It's all the same.
Attack on Titan. That's
That's
one.
anime.
How is
it just happens to be,
How could that? You said this isn't going to be real anime. Attack on Titan's got to be like one.
It's just
more
a German production house, so it looks a little different. But
it's great.
yeah, it's fucking.
It's
great.
fantastic. It's raw. If you're somebody who is trying anime out for the first time, maybe not that one first, but
The Gundam. I did Gundam.
Yeah,
which
there's
Gundams?
a bunch of those.
All of them.
Which ones were your favorite?
Shit, I don't know.
I
There's too
love
many.
Just you just say like I watched it. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
oh, Gundam Wings on. I'm gonna watch that.
yeah. Gundam Wing was a Toonami.
I'm
But-
older, so you know what I mean.
Yeah.
My cartoons are gonna be a little bit like Transor Z and Voltron and all
That's
of these
awesome.
type of guys. You know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Voltron was a good time.
So here's a question for you. I think anime has shaped my life in a couple of surprising ways, and like cartoon stories. Just that there's a whole fantastic sci-fi element to cartoons in America when we grew up in the last 20 or 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think it's impacted your life and who you are and all that stuff?
I'm a writer, so you know, the first stuff I used to write was science fiction and fantasy.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So at any given point, I can sit and draft a story
Yeah.
and put my ideas down on paper. And most definitely, I would love to see those ideas be animated or on the screen at any given time. So I love anime. This is my life. All of that is my life. I'm a big kid at heart. You know what I mean? You know, I know.
I like to hear that.
I've lived a certain experience, but I've never forgot the kid in my heart. And most definitely, I veg out on cartoons just to go to sleep.
Mm.
South Park, Family Guy, American Dad.
Do you know something I found the other night that's been just delightful to enjoy? Shout out maybe later on if we're really on our link game. This is the time we could like throw in like check this thing out right here. The Dragon Ball Z. Someone did a Dragon Ball Z remake on YouTube where they got a bunch of really good voice actors together and just totally fuck with the dialogue. It's called Dragon Ball Z Abridged. It's done by a YouTube series called 4-Star, Team 4-Star. It's hilarious. It's enjoyable. It's like watching Dragon Ball Z again, but now it's witty and they can be profane and it's fantastic. And the editing just is everything these days.
Right. They re-edit it and it's seamless.
Yeah, it's seamless. It's better than the original. I think so. I mean, it's funny.
That's a logical leap in
Yeah.
my head. Because they waste a lot of time in Dragon Ball Z, which is
so
fine,
much
man.
time.
You got to pay writers and things. When you can just scream
Yeah.
for like 20 frames.
But you can take like writer shots at that too. You're like, oh, he's doing that thing. Why aren't we doing anything to stop him?
Right.
And
We're going to let them do it all the way to...
yeah. You know how Piccolo, here's a nerd one that you guys would appreciate. You know how Piccolo absorbs a couple of different people? He ends up being like 2 or 3 different people.
Mhm.
That's like something Namekians can do. They can like fuse together. Not with their hands. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But it's just a funny series. Check it out. What are your top favorite anime, Sampson? Go. 3 favorite.
Trigun,
Okay.
Hunter x Hunter,
I've never seen that, but I've heard good stuff.
and I'm always rough with favorites, so I'm just going to say Mushi because
I didn't really like it.
I liked it. I honestly loved it, but I'm putting it in the top 3 because one, doing a list and without thinking about it gets a little bit tough, and 2, because it's like the one non-anime that I point to that I'm like, if you've never experienced anime, you have preconceived notions, mainly giant boobs,
Yeah, and like,
there's a major degradation to women issue there, and like degradation of the male image of women.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
A danger to young boys and to young women who think they need to adhere to some sort of image. But I'm always like, watch Mushi Ishi. If you have preconceived notions about anime, destroy those with Mushi Ishi.
Yeah. Every culture has those kinds of issues, because the cultures are dealing with being human, which is a wide variety of individual skill sets, from learning to treat people fairly and not adhere to particular images to having fun and expressing yourself comedically. So it's an interesting thing. I'm trying to think of what my top 3 would be. Pure anime, I put Steins Gate is somewhere near the top.
Steins Gate's amazing
because I really like that. You should check that out if you don't get it.
Have you seen it?
You know, I'm paying attention.
Steins Gate's amazing. It's like they draw in a lot of like internet lore around technology and time travel, and they use like some major events that have happened like in the internet sphere, and then they just kind of create a real situation. It would be like if all of that stuff that was happening on the internet was real, this would be like historical fiction. It's kind of hard to explain. But it's a bunch of high school kids who are like super corny and funny, but then like really serious shit is going on around them.
Yeah. And also like to give you a sense of it, they create a time travel machine with a cell phone and a microwave, and the rest of it sort of unravels from there.
Yeah. Well, they can send at first they send text messages back in time, and the text message is like, "Don't do this, do this," and sometimes the person obeys the text message, and sometimes they don't.
Fucks it all up. Sometimes.
And they get really deep into a situation, and they have to back out of it, and then somewhere nearing the end, they figure out time travel for real. And then,
don't give it all away.
What was the one you was talking about? The first one you said.
Trigun.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Trigun is great.
Yeah, Trigun and Hunter x Hunter, they occupy that same kind of genre of like main character who's kind of stuck in a situation but always keeps his head up, and he's actually super powerful, and you don't find out how powerful they are till like way deep in the anime.
Yeah, I lean more toward in that. I don't know why this is similar, but I feel like Cowboy Bebop. I lean more toward a Cowboy Bebop than a Trigun.
Yeah, and Cowboy Bebop is
my own taste.
A lot more like kind of the episodic. It doesn't necessarily. It does flow as a whole package, but episode to episode can be very different. You're not watching a narrative develop like necessarily.
Like with Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, like the previous episode. Yeah, but like
it's just there's a lot of space in between each episode.
Yeah, a lot of it they're bounty hunters, right? So a lot of it is just like catching a different bounty. And so
but it's only like 14 or 15 episodes, so they didn't have that long to tell a story.
No, it's not. It's more than that.
No, it's very short.
No, that doesn't make sense to me.
It might be like 20, maybe. It's a single season.
My guess is 24 minimum, because normally they're like 13 to 20.
We have Google right there. Hello, Google. Let me get back to my list. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop. I would put Ghost in the Shell somewhere up there. Various versions of it. What else? Honestly, Rick and Morty deserves a spot. It's cartoon and not technically anime, but for written, drawn stuff, it's great.
26.
26, really? That's surprising. I thought it was way less.
It's most animes are 13 episodes a season, and it's very popular to go 2 seasons.
Oh, yeah.
Which actually, I will say, one of my favorite things about anime, the thing that like really, like when I found anime and I was like, oh yes, this is like filling a hole, was American cartoons had gotten ridiculous with their like, hey you guys, this is popular, let's just keep making more until we just wear it out, right? They just beat the horse.
Which ones?
Yeah, which ones are you talking about?
Shit, I haven't watched so much any American cartoons in forever.
Ninja Turtles.
Clone Wars.
It started back then, right?
Yeah, I mean,
what was like the
Beetlejuice?
The Transformers was definitely like Transformers.
The new Transformers.
X-Men's got they went 3D with the Animal Beast Wars and stuff.
That was whack.
They started to beat the dead horse quite a bit.
I don't really care about any of those franchises. Those mean nothing to me.
Yeah,
like any of the Marvel or any of the DCs.
The original X-Men.
I'm sorry for everybody who thinks I can. I'm sorry.
That's fine. But the original X-Men was reasonably, like they stuck to the cartoons
X-Men
pretty well, like
the original X-Men is what we watch in the movies right now.
There's still so much material to draw from, even without like beating the dead horse in that case. And when I got to anime, I discovered this whole genre of stuff that like very often adheres to this. Let's tell a quick story, like a novelette. Let's do 24, 26 episodes. Let's do one season. Sometimes they'll do a season, and there's not, even though it's popular, there's not even a lot of pressure to like put the second season out, and you're just left hanging. But I like it resolves.
Yeah.
And American cartoons have this
endless feeling.
Yeah.
Because they're trudged out for capitalism. So let's scoot all the way back, because some people may think anime is incredibly boring, and I'm sorry, you suck. No, I'm joking. That's totally okay, and it's again about stories. We're going to be exploring so many different stories here on Illfoominati, and there are so many different stories here in Denver. So we're going to talk about lots of them. But there's lots of cultures that are into anime here. Comic-Con's really big here.
Yeah, coming up.
Yep.
Sure enough.
But Denver's host to so many different weird things. We've got like Shakespeare Festival is really big here. We've got, what else are some big things? We've got Red Rock, so we've got a giant music scene. There's so many different. We've got we've got a whole arts district designated almost exclusively to art galleries and visual arts. Several museums. Just a city awash with culture. So, anyway, What are some things that you guys are into right now in Denver? Like, what do you do for fun? Anybody like you check out?
I'm amping up my American Ninja Warrior training.
Ooh,
Yes.
ooh, talk to us.
No, I tested the course when it was out here just last week. Just on a humbug. I just went up there. I was training for American Ninja Warrior all this year, but I didn't get my submission in time, so it was just like, oh, well, here, you're in my city. I'm most definitely going to go check you out.
You got to physically do the course a little, though?
Yeah, I was behind with the tester band on.
How was it?
Like I said, to me, it's challenging mentally, but if you're physically at peak, you should be able to ace those obstacles.
Would you say your body is near 100% where you'd like it, or where you'd...
I would like to say that.
You'd like to say that?
I would love to say that.
You would, but you're not saying it.
No way. No way.
Do you think that's possible?
To reach prime physical condition? Yeah. I mean, you can always continue to get better. You can always continue to gain. So it's just about starting your training and committing my effort and accepting that I got a lot of work to do.
We always all have a lot of work to do, don't we?
Yeah.
Such is the way.
So training. That's what I'm on right now for
Training for American Ninja Warrior.
No.
Well, good luck. I hope you get a slot, and I hope you get a chance to audition / just do the course. I would love to see you running through it.
Man.
You've got great hair for it, at the very least.
I'm going to speak in confidence and say if I am selected, I'm probably going to win it.
Good. I'm glad you feel that confident. That's fair. What about you, Sampson?
That's confident enough, right?
Yeah, that is definitely confident enough. What are you doing around Denver? What's your gigs?
What am I doing?
Yeah, what do you do for fun?
Right now, my attention is I do pirate radio. Mostly centered in Boulder and the little mountain towns around Boulder. And my buddy and I maintain a network of people. We're kind of like tech support for local radio. And my station's down right now because my computer died like the day after I left for the desert. So there's like no way to I was like, sorry guys, it's locked up in my apartment. Nothing we can do.
Yeah.
It's totally dead. So I'm reformatting that. That's my major project right now. Building a garden in my friend's backyard. That's going to be most of tomorrow. My Memorial Day was hands in the dirt.
Oh, gardening is so good for you.
We need to get the dirt delivered. But
Sweet.
What else? I don't know. I feel like crazy busy. Like my consciousness is completely absorbed with our projects, honestly. So we pretty much officialized the lounge, which has got my head spinning. So I can't think of anything else.
We're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff coming up lately, and that is most of what I'm doing too.
I know we talked about the lounge. We got meet in the street. I feel like there's a third thing. Oh yeah, I wanted to do the hemp conference.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk about
those
that.
Out.
Yeah, hemp is a really exciting industry, and they can do all kinds of cool stuff with it, from paper to concrete. And I personally just see it as a way to maybe subvert some systems, because if we can the more stuff we can make ourselves, especially out of things we can grow, the more harmonious human beings will exist on this planet.
I mean, it's common sense.
Yeah.
And whatever the restriction or the holdup has been, they need to look again. It's just the benefit outweighs.
Yeah. It's not even
caution.
A drug. It's the male version of the plant. It's all different parts of the plant that you can use for fiber.
You can do a lot of stuff with that.
You can do everything.
Everything.
Fuel, clothing, housing, food, medicine.
I mean, you can do everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's something that Denver is moving forward on.
Consciousness exploration.
Yeah.
Everything.
Marijuana. No, I think that there's so many different reasons that we need to start looking at that, including that our prison system unfairly targets certain types of people and gives them longer sentencing and more harsh sentencing for something that's very silly, which is mostly just to populate a slave force.
Let's cut to Ronnie there. Did you ever caught up on some weed? Like, was the weed the primary charge on anything?
No, I've had a few weed tickets back when those were relevant. If you haven't, you ain't even smoked weed long enough.
Yeah, that's true. I got a weed felony.
Nice.
You got a weed felony.
I did 4 days. I know what it's like.
4 days for your felony.
Yeah, that was even. I did 4 days just because you have to wait for a judge. That was even like my arrest. Or
How much they catch you with?
I had a room. I had 12 plants and a couple pounds.
Okay.
And a bunch of clones and whatever. Okay. So they charged me with 5 felonies. I took 1.
How long? How long ago?
2005. Like right after it went medical.
Yeah. So you got a slap on the wrist.
Oh yeah, totally. They didn't care. They just wanted that check.
Yeah, well, that's what it's about now. Still.
Oh, just about the money.
Totally.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Sitting around these brilliant criminals. Yeah, I just
Criminal
think
minds.
It's curious how you can see how differently the system treats different folks based on how they look, but what their access is to being able to defend themselves, their knowledge of the law, stuff like that.
I mean, it's like a blueprint, right? If you have this blueprint, because you built it and you created this blueprint, you know how this thing works.
Right. And
those on the outside of this blueprint only have a false idea of how it works.
Yeah, they're not given the
same. You know what I mean?
The same.
So if you don't have the blueprint specs in front of you to let you know that these are the ins and outs, you always will be shut out. And basically that comes down to educating yourself about what's going on in your community, what's going on with the laws that represent you, if you care so much so.
Totally. Well, we're going to reel it all the way back to the beginning because we're in Denver. There's some stuff you can do in Denver. There's fun stuff. Other things are going on. Come down to Meet in the Street on July 8th. WeAreDenver is going to be hosting the stage there, and we will be doing music, and Ronnie might come down and do some Tai Chi, and all different kinds of folks are going to come together and show us what the community is. But Ronnie, what are you doing in the community? What's like? Where can people check you out? Where can they find you? You've got a website, I assume. You wrote a book. What's going on?
TheApprenticeOfPeace.com. You can check out the website, check out the book, schedule or book a class or a session with me.
Nice.
For some private Tai Chi instruction or Qigong instruction, or assessment and treatment in 5 virtues Chinese classical medicine.
Nice.
I mean, we're doing a lot. This summer we got our Apprentice of Peace youth organization. It's our inaugural year. So we're trying to get at least 20 to 25 kids into the program so they can become official apprentices of peace. So we can set up peace teams throughout the city and kind of promote the principles of what it means to be an apprentice of peace. What are you good at? You know,
what are the principles of being an apprentice of peace?
The realization, the committed effort, and the accepting principles of change. Through this formula, we create a goal, a plan, and a strategy to become our best. Right? So we're bringing that to the youth. This year is going to be our inaugural program. So if you know any kids who are up to the description, you know what I mean, or need some guidance and discipline, you know, bring them to the Apprentice of Peace.
Wow. That's incredibly brave of you in so many different facets.
Right. I mean, I think it's my calling because I love teaching, and especially I love seeing kids do things that they didn't think they could do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what we bring out of them. We're going to bring that out of them. They're going to be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So when they're done, they're going to have a real sense of who they are, what their community is, and what their example to the world should be.
Do you have a home studio that you guys teach out of? Or?
We're on 3rd in Galapagos, Ancient Tai Chi Harmony. You can go to the Apprentice of Peace website and book and set up a class there with me, you know,
nice.
Monday through Friday.
Well,
and then Saturdays and Sundays, we're at Chi Wellness on Jewel and Colorado Boulevard.
No, I've never been to Chi Wellness. That sounds fun.
All right, that's where I learned Qigong at with my teacher, Dr. Deborah Lynn Allen.
Nice. What's the difference? I've seen like a lot of Tai Chi and a lot of Qigong, and it's hard for me to tell the difference. I can a little bit, but what would you say is the difference?
Tai Chi is movement, is basically the vehicle to Qigong. Qigong, you're harnessing and cultivating energy, and then Tai Chi is the vehicle to move it.
Cool.
That's how I would say it.
That sounds great to me. Well, if you get a chance, check that out if you're into it. If not, then just let that information pass through your brain and mind, and then it's already gone. It's done with. So, thank you for tuning in.
We got
Let's
49 minutes. We could do 10.
Yeah, we're gonna keep going.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I'm with it.
what else is going around in Denver soon? The Westward Music Showcase is coming up.
We
There's
mentioned
going to be the
Comic-Con.
Mo Better Green Market that's
Right.
coming up. That's going to be at the Dahlia Center,
That's
I think.
Yeah, the Dahlia Center for Health and Wellness does really cool stuff. Check out their events. They do really fun, healthy things, and there's a lot of various cultures and communities that take part there, so it's a very vibrant, diverse location.
Yeah, it's got a garden. I love the Dahlia Center.
Yeah.
What else is going on?
There's
Don't forget to hit your local farmers market.
That's a thing around this time of year.
Yeah, there's one in Cherry Creek. There's one near Washington Park.
Ooh.
You got the Boulder one, which is, in my opinion, the flagship farmers market for Colorado.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, it's beautiful.
Mm.
I have some good friends who, an ex of mine, her father runs a coffee company in Boulder, and so they have a little coffee tent, and she's been doing that for years. And I usually show up a couple times per summer and sit on the cooler and drink coffee and chat away and just watch people shop. It's one of my happy places for sure.
Nice. It's kind of fun to watch people shop and live their little human lives.
Yeah. Well, and, it's Boulder, and it's a farmer's market, so everyone's ridiculously beautiful, inside and out.
Boulder is a lovely place, man. I love the scenery.
Yeah.
The bubble.
I think that part of the reason I really like Denver is that people who live here are people that can go to the mountains in 20 minutes.
Right.
Like, that profoundly changes, I think, humans just wanting to be in nature more. That's like part of the reason people are here. I think it makes them more connected, more harmonious, more polite.
I agree 100%.
But yeah, there's all kinds of fun stuff to do, so check it out. I've really been trying to garden a lot. I'm like trying to get back into like gardening often with as many people as I can, and it's really fun. Olivia's got a garden I'm going to try and go to. Today's Sunday, tomorrow.
Today.
So I'm doing some gardening tomorrow. It's going to be great, and it feels so good to get in the dirt. It's a very natural high, very connected feeling. Get grounded.
Hit me up. I might pop in because my wood and stuff probably isn't showing up till later in the day. So
You might want to come garden.
yeah, I just want to see somebody else's setup because that's going to inspire me on mine.
Mm-hmm. And when we were talking to Theo, we mentioned that gardening's the most revolutionary thing you can do.
That I agree with.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. From a sort of Marxist perspective, you could say that it's taking back some of the labor power, taking back the means of production.
Theo the poet.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luciferi, yeah.
Ah, well, he has an event coming up June 1st at the Cash Bar as well. It's a poetry event.
Oh, thank you
The
for helping
return
us
of the
rep that.
Queen Dominique Christina. So I just had it on my feed, so I thought I'd shout
Yeah,
it
that's
out
awesome.
because y'all was talking about the man. So
Yeah.
There you
he
go.
has
Yeah,
he has
definitely
an
shout out
event
to
coming
Luciferi.
up.
Say it again. Give us the details one more time.
Let's say it's at the Cash Bar June 1st, 7:30 p.m. Renaissance Poetry opening.
I love Theo Wilson. Very good man.
Yeah, that's my guy.
There's a lot of people in Denver who are like that, who are leading their own bits of culture. There are people who are really stepping up and defining what Denver is. So we're trying to get, including Sir Ronnie. So we're trying
And if
to get
that
them all in.
describes you,
Yeah,
Right, Malcolm,
We expect to
Brother
hear from
Phil,
you.
Sir,
yeah.
King Salim.
Yeah, we're in no short supply of the kinds of people that we're going to be sitting down
Right.
and having conversations with.
yeah.
How do you feel
really
about
looking forward to
Denver,
that.
Ronnie? How long you been here?
I'm basically a native.
And how do you feel about what Denver is becoming, is no longer?
Let me take that back. I'm actually from Aurora.
Oh, there we go. I
right?
like that.
But being that they're all together, it's Denver, it's Colorado.
Greater
it's
Denver.
only separated by a street.
Yeah.
It's still all the same. But I live in Aurora. Denver's dope. It's growing. There is a light rail that goes all the way from Aurora to Denver.
Yeah.
So that's sweet. It's just everything's growing, man.
Do you feel it's lost anything? Do you miss? Is there something you miss?
If you grow fast, you're gonna lose a lot. You know what I mean? And it's just a new Denver. It doesn't have the old feel no more. A lot of people has moved here.
Do you think that Denver is in general kind of like a safer place? When I don't, this is why I asked, because where I live, 5 Points used to be a much more dangerous place, and then you go down towards where Coors Field is now. Before Coors Field, that area was a very dangerous place. You know, like back in the day, Great Divide was like the only business over there in that area, and in a lot of ways probably is the reason that area came up the way it did. But and that's I don't know if like have those places
Here's my
moved
opinion.
in Denver, or do they not exist like they used to? You know,
I don't think so anymore.
Yeah,
I think that there's still a level of crime and stuff that's still going to exist, but Denver, Colorado, it's a safe state compared to Louisiana or any of these other states where they're a lot bigger. You know what I mean? The populations are a lot bigger. But as far as Colorado and Denver, like the gentrification, the police, all of these things have broken down that structure of crime tolerance.
Yeah.
No, they don't have none of that.
I would say that there always will be a pretty, from what I understand about crime and crime statistics, there will always be a relatively similar crime rate everywhere. But the variance isn't that big. But I will say that it is reported on differently, pretty vast chasms of who they report on and why. So I don't know. I don't know if it's actually any safer. There are stats that showed like there's some safeness. I don't know if it's not any safer because it was never as bad as the media hypes it up to be, or if it's because like social structures are evolving and in theory less people should be in poverty and so on and so forth. But I don't know, like it's hard to take any of that apart without looking at why people are poor and the fact that there are people with unimaginable wealth that don't need to have it, and that
unimaginable
exacerbates.
wealth where they can't imagine what they would do.
They
with it.
literally, So what's the point?
What is the point?
But either way, it makes compounds the problem in a way that it's hard to even talk about with people.
True.
Yeah, I mean it's. I don't mind an area being dangerous. It's not dangerous just 'cause.
Yeah, I'm not.
I know you're not, but everybody who talks about 5 Points as an area that used to be dangerous, in some way, and I'm not saying you're implying this, I hear a lot of people imply that because it used to be, definitely more people of color used to live there, and there used to be more projects there, and you can't blame people who live in projects for the fact that projects exist.
Yeah.
It's not their fault. It's the fault of the system, which purposefully does this. And most people can't get there, but do you guys agree that that's purposeful?
Of course.
You've got a phone call.
You've got mail.
Yeah, you can't do that, right?
Yeah. So it's
yeah,
so it might
I
be
definitely
safer,
don't want
but
to
what does it
imply
matter?
that, but I've definitely, when I was a much younger man,
Yeah.
found myself wandering around 5 Points because I was at a Cervantes show
Mhm.
and totally got called out for being a white guy in a dangerous neighborhood by a person of color.
Most
Yeah.
definitely. You can get that can happen.
Yeah,
And
but
that's a level of choice. And it's sometimes you have to give people their space because it's not you, right?
Yeah.
You got to go and you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
You still gonna get called out, maybe here or maybe there. Coming from my perspective, it's so different. You know what I mean?
I'm
like,
sure.
I don't even like.
What would you say?
I've grown past it, right? It's not that I've grown past it. It's just that I don't encounter it too much because I'm around positive people and in this community.
I honestly, I'd be interested in your opinion on this too, but I feel like you carry that into your situations too. You know, like you've created this vortex of energy around yourself, which you have cultivated very literally with your movements. But not only are you less likely to bump into people who are going to cause problems and, have their own negative vortex, when you do come across those people, they're going to be far less negative to you. Like, and like in the very spiritual aspect of like your heart field, is going to like shut down that part in them a little bit, and they're going to be much less likely prone to like overreaction or whatever the reaction would be.
That's the word. That's the right word. Overreact, because we're all just regular human beings, and I'm gonna just live like that, and I'm gonna allow you to live like that. I'm not really gonna be in your business, and I really don't want you in my business. But you know what I mean? We can be, what's that word, cordial?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't really, not going to condemn you on your views. But if you get racial with me, that's different.
I saw a little YouTube video snippet thing that I thought was funny and put forth an idea that I'd had in my mind for a really long time. But it was some dude who was rolling through a bad neighborhood, and the one guy was like, yo, what up? Give me your wallet. And he's like, I could do that, or we could smoke this joint. And they're like, yeah. And then the next thing they're like best friends, you know. And I've always thought, like, if I'm ever in a sketchy situation, I'm just gonna bring a joint. And like,
And
I'll
just give it away.
Like that's the one hope, you know. Somebody's like, "What the fuck, man? Give me your money." I was like, "If you want money, you can take it, but you have to smoke this weed with me first." Just like, we're gonna try and be friends, and even if you
Just
leave with
really
my
get to
money,
know
at
each
least
other.
my friend has my money. You know what I'm saying?
I've never been robbed. I imagine that would be a scary situation.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah.
My
But-
friend was hiking up near Morrison, and some crazy like mountain lady came out and pointed a gun in her face and was like, "Get off my property."
That would be scary.
Yeah, and
That
she's
would
like,
be
"That's
really
not the
scary.
first time I've had that happen to me."
Huh. She must hike
Oh,
around on other people's
damn.
property a lot.
Yeah, she likes to just
People
disappear
who
into the
own their
mountains.
own property tend to also have guns.
Yep.
That's a good thing to just keep in
Yep.
mind
Yep.
when you're trespassing.
I keep my guns right next to my mule.
Nothing wrong with that.
right next to your mule.
Yeah, somewhere on my 40 acres.
Indeed. Well, we're going to wrap up. It's been fun chatting with you guys. We just sat down to kick it. You can check out what Ronnie Chi does at apprenticeofpeace.com, but
Yes.
also at his own personal Facebook page and on the Facebook page for
Up
Apprentice
to
of
Prince
Peace.
of Peace.
Contact them. Go check out his studio on 3rd and Galapego. Don't forget, We Are
Bring
Denver.
your kids
Bring your kids.
this summer. Inaugural summer program.
I'm doing
Yeah.
it for the kids.
He does great work. I've worked with Ronnie before, and it was incredible. He's a great teacher.
Yeah, I'm gonna come check that
thank
shit
you.
out, man.
It's fucking.
I'm always
fantastic.
looking for like a place to do Tai Chi and stuff, but I don't want to travel. You know Ben? It's not Ben. Oh man, what is it? Over there by the Waffle House.
God, I'm gonna be so surprised if he
there's a
says yes.
really classic, like old school Tai Chi teacher in Denver. Oh, I can't believe I can't remember his name. I'm a terrible human being. I'm awful.
You're trying too hard.
That's true.
Don't try and do
let
stuff.
Go.
Let go. Yes. Well, I hope that everybody who's watching can let go. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for finding out a little more about Ronnie and about
Peace.
We Are Denver. Check out
We
Meet in the
Are
Street.
Denver.
Yeah,
We're going to
well,
be doing all kinds of stuff.
we don't have anybody streaming, so we don't have to worry about that. But we will be back in a second
Yep.
with part 2.
We will. So check out the other podcast as well, which comes right after this with Sampson leading, talking about nothing being explained.
Yeah,
So,
I'm going to explain nothing, and
Mhm.
I'm definitely not going to explain aliens. So
yeah.
we should also shout. We've added 2 podcasts today, so the podcast
Yeah.
collective has doubled in size in only
It
1
has.
week.
Yes, we were going to have a sports podcast and the Boom Bap Tricks podcast as well, but Boom Bap Tricks is still happening. Sports one might happen at a later date, either next Sunday or perhaps later on this week. But stay tuned for that. Either way, podcasts are increasing. You're going to see tons of stuff from us. Thank you guys for tuning in. Love and peace again. This is Ronnie,
Say
And-
peace.
Peace.
and this is Sampson.
Yo.
And I'm Ryan. Thank you guys for joining us, and have yourselves a good time.
And we'll be right back.
See ya.